Welcome to another episode of Marriage Evolves Podcast, a community where we here are dedicated to empowering and equipping couples with the strategies needed to tackle any relationship together as a team. Let me tell you, in today's episode, we are getting ready to peel the onion back and tread into the critical importance of recognizing and addressing negative behaviors. Because a lot of times we as couples do not recognize that those small actions can dismantle the foundation of any relationship. And it can accumulate those fractions to threaten the relationship. So, Coach Rod, let's get ready to peel this onion back with our audience. But before we do that, make sure you go and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and on our YouTube channel, as well as our podcast locations, because we are there with many tools just for you.
You know, I know we're doing a podcast with video, but you do that so eloquently, like you are ready for radio. You know, we ought to get you on the radio as a DJ
Well,
or
get
something.
me on the radio,
Yeah.
baby, because I will radio on the radio.
Yeah. But by the way, you actually got your little Paris shirt on today. You know, you're looking.
Patty,
Yeah.
woo-wee.
You just got finished traveling out to Paris or something.
No, I'm getting there.
You getting there?
I'm getting
Okay,
there because
that's
Lord knows.
that's the vision, huh?
That's the vision
All right, now
of the
you do your
house,
thing, girl.
Patty.
Yeah.
Oui, baby.
Yes, we. All right. So as my wife was saying, or as Coach Roshawn was saying, we're going to be discussing some areas that are common mistakes in our marriage. Yes, I say common mistakes. Those things that we don't think about that just flows off our mouth, our attitudes, our tongue. But these are things that happen on a day-to-day basis. And maybe you don't pay attention to until it's brought to your attention.
So we're getting ready to expose some of our negative behaviors that we've had.
Yes.
Like we always do.
And some that
draws.
yes, and some that we still have that we work through.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, I guess one of those behaviors that I specifically remember back in the day, because you mentioned to me one time when we was living in Hawaii and you went to work and I had on my headscarf, my pajamas and everything.
Yeah.
And you came home from work and I still looked the same way. And you was like, okay, this is not cool. This is ugly, because I went to work. You
left
was
you looking like that?
Left me looking like that.
Came back 14 hours later?
And still looking like that. And so one of the things that I believe that is a negative behavior is we as spouses don't take the time to care for our appearance like we did when we were dating.
Yeah, because we want our ambassador to be shown when we were dating.
Our ambassador.
Yes. Our representative.
I was getting ready to say, can you explain that a little bit?
Representative. A lot of times when we're dating, you know, we always put our best look forward, our best words forward, our best attitude, all the best that we want that other individual to see, because we don't want to expose our real true self.
Yeah. But in doing that, a lot of people don't think, well, so let me kind of rephrase that. Many individuals think that because you want to care for yourself like that in that manner, it could be a little bit superficial, but it does make a huge difference in the relationship when you're doing all these things to snatch me up and get me. But then when you get me, you don't look like this no more. You don't care for yourself. You don't comb your hair. You don't.
Because I got you now.
Oh.
I got you. You ain't going nowhere.
Oh, what is that saying that you would always say, you know, what men do, y'all go and chase after the women, and when you catch your prey, we're supposed to be the prey, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's the hunter, you know, he wants to be able to have something to chase. He got to have, you know, the prey is supposed to be there, always ready to be hunted and chased. And if you don't give us that opportunity, because most of us, deep down inside, that's what we're all about. We're the warrior, we're the hunter. We want to go after. We want to search after you. You know, we want to chase you.
So
if you don't allow us to chase you, then you know you take us out of our element.
So you telling me that you won't chase me if I'm looking like a hood rat?
Ooh.
With my headscarf
the chase
on?
will dwindle, and over time it might cease. Especially if you look like a hood rat. Come on, no, we don't want no hood rats around here.
So
Uh-uh.
one of the things that I'm understanding and understood over the years is when you stop making that effort to improve ourselves, it comes across to the other spouse that we lack the enthusiasm to care for ourselves, to make ourselves look presentable for the spouse,
Not just for your spouse, but first of all,
for
for
yourself.
yourself, because
Yes.
it's a personal pride.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the initiative to take care of your own self and have a presence of mind of how I look, how I carry myself, how I posture
Yeah.
myself makes you as an individual feel good about yourself, your self esteem, your self confidence,
Right.
your self worth. So if
Right.
you exude that for yourself first, and then as well you take into consideration your spouse, okay, then you're letting your spouse know, hey, I value you, I value how you view
Yes.
me because I value myself. And this is how I want you to view me as well.
That is so good because when we value one another, we care for ourselves. We'll take that bath.
Hopefully.
Ooh. We'll put that makeup on. We'll get our hair combed and cut to make ourselves look that good because we value ourselves. We love ourselves. And when we do that, we'll love you even more so. That's good. And it makes the other person recognize how much you're putting a priority in yourself for me.
Mm, mm. Prioritizing the relationship of
Yeah.
this is my presentation to you. I mean, because you did it on the wedding day. You got yourself all gusset up, smelling good, looking
Woo,
good.
smelling real good.
You had a beautician team, a hair team. You
A
had
hair team.
some of y'all women, you get a hair specialist, then you get a nail specialist,
Well,
then you
yeah,
get
you're
the
right.
makeup specialist.
You're
Y'all get
right.
all kind of
You are
specialists for
absolutely
you
correct.
and all your bridesmaids and all the other women that's involved in the party.
You
And
are
the
absolutely
grooms, you
correct.
know how we do it. We get the barbershop team to come and take care of all the brothers. Everybody
Yep.
looking sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, you do it on the wedding day for the ceremony, but why stop there? Why leave it at the altar? Keep doing it every day. Put that same level of attention and
Mm-hmm.
attitude and determination to continuously look good, not just in front of the camera, in front of all the families and friends, but for
Mm-hmm.
your individual person, your individual spouse.
But this also goes to the other portion of taking care of our physical self too.
Mhm.
This is a part of that appearance because a lot of times we take care of ourselves before we get married extremely well, like we do with everything else. But when it comes to after we get married, we allow our bodies to just get disproportioned.
That's a nice word. The way
Yes,
you say it, just you get fat,
disproportioned.
you get sloppy. Okay.
I was trying to be nice.
And we're gonna be real up in here. You know how we do it. You get out of shape, you get winded, you don't take care
when
of your
when
you
you
don't
get winded and it messes up the sex.
yeah. Or you too heavy and your spouse can't enjoy it with you.
Yes.
Too wide. I
Yes.
mean, we're not gonna get too graphic with it, but just want to just
Because you want
giving
to,
you some thought process that you need to take into consideration.
right.
Because
Because
a
you
lot of
getting on top
times,
of me and you make me feel like I'm a mashed potato up on there. You're smashing me down.
okay, now you getting a little too graphic
Okay.
with it. All
Well,
right.
anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Next.
But
So,
the point that we're making is, think about not just yourself in the
yeah.
equation. Always consider your mate. Always consider your spouse and what it is that they
Mm-hmm.
may enjoy. What is it that they may take pleasure in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because it's not just about you anymore. It's you and that other individual.
It's a team effort
Yes.
to continue to keep looking the same way. And also, too, being overly consumed. This is a negative behavior that could penetrate negative responses, is being overly consumed with your spouse in an unhealthy way,
Mm, mm,
where that means you create this huge blind spot and all you see is them.
mm.
And I'll use for an example when my mom came to Hawaii and she sat back and she was watching how we maneuvered. Boy, I tell you, these doggone mamas out here back in the
Mhm.
old days, they be
They
watching.
paid a lot of attention.
They paid a whole lot of attention, which we need to start doing these days. But she paid attention to how we were maneuvering. And she pulled me aside one day when you was at work and she said, baby, don't lose yourself trying to chase up after him all the time.
Now, when you heard those words, what did that mean to you? What did you grasp out of that?
I didn't quite grasp it at the time until she sat me down and explained it to me, which is what we're talking about now, being so overly consumed in you where I wasn't even thinking about myself. I was losing myself. Where is Roderick? What is he doing? You know, everything consumed you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was unhealthy to me because I wasn't caring for me. So because my consumption was Roderick, I stunt my own growth
Mm-hmm.
as an individual because now you became my main
Focus.
focus.
Yes.
And ultimately those my negative emotions and fears were like, oh my God, is he gonna cheat on me? Oh my God, is he gonna do this? Oh my God. Because of that unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
behavior that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So she made me recognize that day.
Now, you said that when she explained it to you, did you take the time out to ask her, or did she just openly provide that information to you?
No, I had to ask her what
Okay.
what does she mean by that?
Mm.
Because I didn't quite understand it. I was like, what do you mean? I thought as a wife, we're supposed to, put our husbands first. But what she said was put him first, but don't overly consume yourself to the point to where you're not caring for you.
Mm-hmm. Or you don't have a life for
I don't
your
have a
own.
life
You
of
don't
my
have interests
own.
of your own that you're taking care of.
Yes.
Yes. Because
Yes.
sometimes we can get so focused in our spouse that
Mm-hmm.
we tend to lose ourselves, like my wife was just saying, in who we are.
Yes.
All your time and energy and attention is on your mate. And that's not how God intended it for it to be. You still have your own hobby. You still have your own interest. You still have, that's why we say, once again, we're two hearts. We're two individuals.
Yes.
She has her things that she does. I have my things that I do. But yet we're one because we're one team. We're
Mm-hmm.
joined one through marriage. We're joined in one by
Mm-hmm.
heart because we are doing this thing
Yeah.
together in God because we love one another. But yet we're still two individuals. And we're not trying to make each other be like,
Yeah.
she's not trying to make me be like her. And I'm definitely not trying to make her be like me.
And the thing about it is, if this negative behavior doesn't get identified and addressed in relationships, it will it will level up and heighten your fear and anxiety and paranoia
Mm-hmm.
of what your spouse is doing to where it then creates those negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Is he out there doing this or is she out there doing that? Who is she talking to? Who is he talking
Mm-hmm.
to? Are they spending the money the way they're supposed to? It can create all of that
Mm-hmm.
unhealthy behavior
Right.
if we're not careful.
And as I'm thinking about it, I mean, you just
Oh,
mentioned several.
this is the other one too. I'm sorry to
She
interrupt
cut
you.
me off,
I
y'all, didn't
sure
she?
did.
She's
But I just thought
wow.
about
But
this
go
one
ahead with it.
because this was us.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't answer the phone when I called the first time,
Yes.
what is he doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pick up right now.
Mm-hmm. Mind you, brother could be at work in the middle of a meeting.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't have the phones in there with us. Why you
Yeah.
didn't? Hey, babe, right now I do have a job. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working. But I was just getting ready to highlight, because you mentioned a few different topics just now, areas, in that capacity. But what about in those other areas where the individual has gotten themselves so focused and so uh, um, involved in their spouse that when they say their spouse had to travel and they're
Oh
not around or
gosh.
or for whatever reason, then they don't know what to do with themselves.
They really don't. And
They don't know how to maneuver in the house. They don't know how to go and do anything in and of themselves for themselves.
and that's where I remember when that happened to us. And I literally felt like if I am not on the phone with you 50 times in that day, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something is wrong.
Because I remember I
And
told
that
you, baby, you need to go get you some friends.
and get a life.
Yeah.
And I had to become that way. I had to learn how to get a life and get some friends and get some interest in the things that I needed to
Mm-hmm.
do. And that was being a military wife and You going on deployments, I had to get that down
Mm-hmm.
because you were gone for so long at one period of time. And if I didn't get it, it could have really ruined the relationship
Mm-hmm.
because of my insecurities, my fears,
Mm-hmm.
my mindset.
You're losing yourself in rod.
Yes. And boy, I am so glad that I learned that principle and not allowing that negative behavior
Mm-hmm.
to overcome me, but I
Rest
conquered
assured, folks,
it.
she definitely don't have that problem anymore.
Oh no, I sure don't.
Not
I'll be
one
like, boo
bit.
boo, where you going? You go ahead. Don't ain't you got some friends you want to go hang out with?
Cause she be traveling on me now.
Yes, I
leave,
sure
leave
do.
me at home.
But you know another negative behavior is when couples become, this might kind of intertwine with what we were just talking about, but become so codependent. That might be intertwined with what we just said, huh? Codependency.
I mean, in part, it is because I forget the term. There is a term for it, but I mean, you said codependency, but there's another term that we use
Mm-hmm.
for that. Whereas you are so drawn in to the life of your mate that you don't have any latitude of movement for yourself in your own
Mm,
in your own anything.
yeah.
You know, every like you were sharing earlier, your every focus is all about your mate, what they're
Okay.
doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it. But it's like, okay, well, what about you?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? What do you like? You know,
Yeah.
and that's a thing that it's hard, and especially in certain environments, certain situations, like you were expressing. You know, being a military spouse, because we plug you up and we take you all over the world and move you from your
One
your
place to the next.
yeah, and move you from your network, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to reestablish those things. It's a little quicker for us because we have a network through job. But if you don't have a job, if you're at
Yeah.
home, or if it has take you some time to get in working, or building, okay, now I gotta meet new neighbors and establishing it. I don't know how they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna take me, and if depending with the kids, if you have kids or not, if you meet new parents, that your kids can get involved with. There's a lot of different factors there. And sometimes, we don't think about it as the military member, how much we are uprooting
And
and,
pulling them
yeah, and
away.
pulling away foundation for our spouses.
But that's not necessarily only for military, for any family that transitions from one place to the
Yes.
next because they become so accustomed to where they were.
Hmm.
Now you're pulling me into a new environment. I'm going to cling on to you
Hmm.
because this is all that I have.
Yeah.
So I do become so codependent on you in an unhealthy way,
Hmm.
or either codependent on, like you said, if they have children in an unhealthy way.
Hmm.
One of the things is this can actually put a strain on the spouse
Yeah.
that doesn't have this negative behavior because your whole source and confidence is so intertwined and your self-worth from only you
Hmm. Hmm.
and nothing else.
Yeah. But the funny, well, I want to say funny, the flip side of it though, as you were becoming and feeling more codependent upon me, I started
Yep.
being like what you always call the singleton. Like you just think about everything about you. You just you go off and do your own thing. You ain't considering me. I mean, you ain't gonna
Hmm.
bring me along. It's just you just maneuvering like it's just you in this relationship.
So what do you mean by the a negative behavior being a singleton? What do you mean by that?
I was so absorbed in we're here, we moved because my job.
Hmm.
You had to come along because you're married to me. You didn't have a choice in it. So I
No,
got to
I
go do
didn't have
these
a
things.
choice.
I got to go and take care of this. But I need you. I understand that. But you got to come second. You got to come afterward because I got to take care of these things.
Mm.
And this is has priority. And that was the thing. I put all those other things as priority over you without considering how you were feeling and what you were dealing with and going through.
But couldn't becoming a singleton also being you had that single mindset?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I was focused on this was my priority, I didn't
No,
consider
no,
how
no.
you felt in those things.
No, no,
So I
no.
was more focused on what was more important for me.
No, what I mean by a singleton mindset is even though we're married, which is a great thing, you can have a negative behavior of a singleton, of having that single mindset, acting like you're single, even though you're married.
Uh,
That's what I'm referring
okay,
to.
okay, okay.
You know, there are some couples out there that the husband or the wife thinks that you're not going to take my autonomy away from me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to go out here and flirt with this person, do this, do
Mm-hmm.
that, and think that I can still come home and lay on your shoulder like nothing ever happened.
Mm.
That's what I mean by what I'm referring to as a singleton.
Okay, I got you. Now, you know what? Something you when you mentioned that came to my attention. There was a period of time.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there was a period of time when you, I think you became the singleton.
I did become the
You know,
singleton.
you were no longer codependent. You got you some
Nope.
friends, single friends, mind you, and
Yep.
then went out and
Unhealthy.
yes, went
Unhealthy.
out and was hanging out with the friends. Invite them over to the house, would fix dinner, and you and your friends ate up all the food,
And
would
left you
leave
hanging.
out, and I come to home from work, and I'm like, "Where my food at?"
Yeah.
And then would leave me a note say, "Can you clean the dishes?" I'm like, "Can I clean?" What? Well, I was livid. I was livid. I'm like, "You gonna have," and then you were hanging out and, and didn't leave me no food, ain't had no nothing for me.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
That is a negative behavior that will definitely fracture the relationship
Mm,
because you're acting single, but you're married.
yes,
So
yes,
please, y'all, don't do that.
yes.
If that behavior is a part of your relationship, cut it quickly.
Mhm.
But the last thing that I believe is a huge one is when a negative behavior is your insecurity or overly sensitivity,
Mm,
being oversensitive, because
mm,
that was me at one point. I could
yeah,
not take your correction because I was so oversensitive, like, you done pierced my heart so bad.
yeah.
Why did you say that? But not taking in
Mm,
what it is that you were sharing with me.
mhm.
That behavior became very problematic.
Yes, it was. It was. Wow. Yeah. I had something I wanted to share, but I'm gonna leave that one alone. Yeah.
Whoa, where were you
No,
about to go?
no. It's okay. Carry on
Oh,
with that one.
Lord.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
baggage of insecurity that we bring, you look like you really want to say it.
Well, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it. But I do like the fact that where you were going with it
Mm-hmm.
because that was based on a lot of that was based in past failure, failed
And
relationships.
fears.
Yes, fears that you never addressed and that you never got
Mm-hmm.
victory over.
I agree. And that's a pattern of behaviors that, if it's not identified and recognized and tackled,
Hmm.
it will carry over to the marriage. And you will wonder why your spouse is so overly sensitive about everything,
Mm,
in their feelings about everything,
yes.
and cannot take any corrective criticism, any anything
Mm-hmm.
from you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, my God. So in another negative part of that is, because they can't take that, and you become fearful of being able to share anything with them, you begin to suppress those things and pull it under the rug and never deal with it.
And you know what happens when you put so much under the rug, right?
That rug starts building.
It starts building up, and
Resentment comes.
yes, yes, and you never realize after you shuffle so much under that rug and it builds up. One
Yeah.
day you try to walk past it, and you just gonna trip and fall over. It's like, well, what happened? Where did this come from?
Mm-hmm.
You kept shuffling stuff under, hiding it out of plain sight, never
Yeah.
confronting it and resolving it, and
Mm-hmm.
now it done made you fall and stumble.
Yeah. And this one right here, though, because we've had to deal with this one. This negative behavior is where we're giving more time to technology, social media, and all these things, and not our spouse. Technology can ruin a
It's
marriage.
meant to enhance your lifestyle,
Social
not
media,
replace,
yes, enhance,
not
to help,
replace. To
to
be an aid,
inform,
to be an aid, not replace.
not
Not
replace.
replace the interaction, not replace
Yep.
the communication,
Mm-hmm.
not to replace my time of being attentive to you and your needs.
Mm, that's good. Well, folks, we have definitely given you some amazing tools that we believe can help you peel back the onion. And when you recognize these behaviors, and I'm going to tell you the behaviors again, don't neglect to take care of your appearance and yourself. Don't be overly consumed with your spouse to an unhealthy way to where you suffocate them. Don't create that codependent marriage, because you also, again, will only be able to identify your value and worth just in them. And definitely don't get this singleton behavior, because you'll be on your own when you do that. Don't allow your insecurity and your oversensitivity to get in the way of allowing yourself to grow and to mature. And lastly, technology. Do not allow technology to create that behavior and bring that wedge between you and your spouse. Because if you do, you will find yourself in the corner by yourself.
Not in the
What you
corner,
think?
huh?
In the corner
okay.
with the Dunn's hat on, wondering how did I get here?
You reference something that some of our viewers might not even know what you're talking about.
Well, they'll get it another time.
Go look it up. You're on the technology. Go look it up.
Exactly. But once again, we thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Marriage Evolves podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and our YouTube channel. And don't forget the podcast platforms as well. And as always, we say we are two hearts, one team with one purpose.